Very good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Viksit Bharat Vision series, an exciting new initiative by My Bharat and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports to inspire and empower India's youth and introduce them to visionary people in governance. My name is Sharan Sethi, and I am a My Bharat volunteer. I am extremely honored and thankful to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for providing me with this opportunity to host the first episode of the series, which is all about big ideas, bold leadership, and the vision for a developed India. In this inaugural episode, we'll discuss the qualities, mindset, and the skills that will determine India's next generation of leaders who are ready to take challenges head on and also contribute meaningfully to our country's growth. Our speaker today needs absolutely no introduction, but for formality's sake, I shall comply. Thiru Annamalai Avargal is the Tamil Nadu BJP president and a former IPS officer of the 2011 Karnataka cadre. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, and a management degree from Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. He is known for his dynamic leadership qualities. He has served as SP in Udupi and Chikmagalur before resigning in 2019 and eventually entering politics. He joined the BJP in 2020, became its state president of the Tamil Nadu unit in 2021, and has been expanding the footprints of the party ever since. He is also the author of Stepping Beyond Bhakti, a book that he's written to reflect his journey from policing to public service. Annamalai ji, a very, very, very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I hope I'm audible.
Thank you, Saran Shetty brother. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the Mera Yuva Bharat volunteers and participants who are part of our virtual conference today. I'm very grateful that I've joined now because you have considered me worthy enough to come address these young people and kind of share my thoughts with you, Sharanji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Annamalai ji. May I first begin by requesting you to address the audience? We have a lot of excited volunteers who have joined here today. They look forward to hearing your thoughts, your inspiring words, and many of these leaders that we see today are going to be in different positions across various fields. And then we will have a small question and answer session after your address.
Thank you so much. My vanakkam, namaskaram, namaste, good morning to all the wonderful volunteers of Mera Yuva Bharat who have participated here. I think with a lot of pride, all of us can say this is one of the largest group of volunteers ever joined together in pursuit of a noble cause. After our Honorable PM had this vision of starting Mera Yuva Bharat, which got into functionality on 11th October 2023, when the Union Cabinet gave the approval for the establishment of an autonomous body, Mera Yuva Bharat, especially for the people in the age group of 15 to 29 years, 9th September 2024, more than 1 crore 58 lakh registration has happened. It's a rapidly growing platform with crores of youth volunteers who have joined with a noble cause, noble mission. One, to bring fresh new ideas into India's policy making thinking. And second, for all the youth volunteers, youth, especially in the age group of 15 to 29, to give them a platform so that they interact with some known minds, they get some ideas, and they equip themselves in the preparation of a public policy role, in the preparation of whatever role they choose to do for the development of Bharat. Frankly, I never imagined that this kind of youth participation will be there within a matter of months. It only shows our PM Narendra Modi's vision that is very clear throughout 2024, starting from Red Fort, on the birth anniversary on Swami Vivekananda ji, then during one of his Man Ki Baat address, continuously our Honorable PM is of the opinion that more than 1 lakh youth should join politics. Is very, very clear and is continuously emphasizing it. Even in January in Bharat Mandapam, when the youth participation, the Mera Yuva Bharat dialogue happened, even there the Honorable PM has emphasized that youth has to play a larger role in policy making. Why all of us are saying that youth should come forward and you all should get into policy making, you all should contribute your might for the nation's progress? It is very simple. We all know, a lot of people keep emphasizing it. For the sake of repetition, I'm emphasizing it again. And we are one of the youngest population in the world. And I would say more than the youngest population, we are one of the youngest democracy in the world. 1947, technically we became a constitutional democratic republic, but our spirit of democracy, it runs thousands of years. And the median age of our country with 144 crore people, it is somewhere around 32, 33. If you look at the kind of contribution youths are making in all the field, especially in startup, there is an explosive growth. Sports bringing laurels every single day. Science and technology, the youths are making a progress, making a mark already. But if you look at the parliament or the state legislative assemblies, or even including panchayat, it is not getting reflected in the daily politics. Probably it is not getting reflected in the policy making as well. That is where Honorable PM was very clear. Youth should enter. That is not mentioning about 100, 200 or 300. Is mentioning about a minimum target of 1 lakh youth. And he's not talking only about parliament, he's talking about every single system that is part of a democratic process, be it the panchayats at the lowest level, and be it the nagarpalikas, be it the corporations, from there starting all the way to the legislative assemblies, all the way to the parliament. So every single place, it is an imagination of a lot of people that once youth come, then the direction, the way forward in which we walk through as a democratic country, it will take for a change. I'm just giving you a simple idea. As we speak now, as we started speaking now, I just look at a small country like Taiwan. And I am right now talking to you from Chennai. A country like Taiwan's population is equivalent to Chennai's population, roughly. Chennai is a capital a city of a state. It is just roughly Chennai's population. It contributes 1/4 of India's GDP. We as a country, India's GDP, Taiwan contributes 1/4. So because they're very good in science and technology, they've taken a leapfrog and multiple things, they're going forward. The last 10 years, we have seen an unprecedented economic growth and continuous sustainable economic growth. But still, for PM's vision, 2047, when PM talks about Viksit Bharat, and when we tentatively say it could be between 50 to 55 trillion dollars, because right now we are at about $4 trillion. When you're looking at $55 trillion, you can imagine the leapfrogging we have to do. We have to roughly do about 13 times leapfrogging. So right now, where we are, 75 years post-independence, where we are as a country in terms of economic growth and trajectory, we got to leapfrog 13 times from now to reach 55 trillion. So what brought us here is not definitely going to take us there. There is something that is needed from now 2025 to 2047 to go there. We can say with a lot of pride, 2014 we are the 11th largest economy in the world. Now we can say with a lot of pride that we are 5th largest economy. Probably in the next 3 years we'll become the 3rd largest economy. We will overtake Japan, we'll overtake Germany, we'll be the 3rd largest. But the problem, the gap between the number 1 country, number 2 country and the number 3 would be so high. Even as we speak, US is at 32 trillion. Even as we speak, China is at 17 trillion, 17.5 trillion. We are at 4 trillion. So to reach there, we need fresh minds, energetic minds, people who are willing to break the norms, people who are willing to take us to a territory which we haven't entered, give us new ideas, fresh perspectives. That is one main reason why the youth should participate in politics in a large way. The second, normally when we talk about dynastic politics, it settles growth. Why it settles growth? Because politics, end of the day, is a process by which any person starting at the bottom, you go through that process, you learn, success and failure becomes an inevitable part of your journey. You understand how a society functions. So every day a politician has to keep learning. And finally you reach to a place, you sit in policy making where you can contribute. Because that accumulated knowledge over the years of 10, 20, 30 years, if you look at some of the greatest leaders in Bharat, starting from our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, starting from 18, probably before he entered BJP at 35 as an organizing secretary, then at the age of 51, when he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, it is that prepared him for that role. And Chief Minister of Gujarat for multiple terms, then became the Prime Minister at 2014. At his age of 64, 1950 to 64, if you look at the journey, it is a long journey going through that process that has molded them. Once the position of power they are sitting, they're using it fully for the growth of our country, fully for the growth of our people. But dynastic politics, it is a shortcut. Someone being a daughter or son of somebody gets that post, they come and sit there. So what happens is they becomes insecure. they surround themselves with insecure people. And the surrounding insecure people will also surround themselves with insecure people. What happens? The talent never goes up to the top. The talent gets scattered at all levels, probably a state or a panchayat or a city or even a corporation ward. It doesn't realize the full potential because somebody who doesn't understand the process, somebody who doesn't come the hard way, somebody who doesn't have a vision comes and sits in that role. That is why when PM talked about 1 lakh youth entering politics, he also mentioned this along with it in Red Fort as well as in his Mann Ki Baat address, that dynastic politics cannot determine how our country should run. And when you're looking at 13 times leapfrogging from 4 trillion to 55 trillion, you're looking at visionary people entering politics, visionary people entering public policy, because today we are focusing more on youth leadership in politics. That is the topic we are discussing. That is why many of the young volunteers who are here, you should have an urge. You should have an urge to look at politics as an option. And you should not look at, okay, first past the post democracy, it is so tough. Should I go and will I get an opportunity? Which political party will I enter? Will I get promoted up? So that shouldn't be a concern. In fact, that should be a least concern. Your goal is to keep keeping you understanding economics, understanding politics, understanding society, making an effort to learn. Because joining a political party, that doesn't what the Honorable PM means when he says 1 lakh people should join politics. 1 lakh people should join the political process. You being a part of a NGO, part of a civil society, start working at the ground, getting into social action, contributing your mind, contributing an energy to keep the society a better place. That is politics. And the politics is not electoral politics. Politics comes from the word called polis, which comes from the word called people. When you work with people on a everyday basis, that is politics. There is a structured way of doing it by joining a political party. Then there is a structured way of doing by contesting elections and winning and becoming part of the policy making. But everything is a process. So I think the Honorable PM is urging you to get into the process of politics, interacting with people on a daily basis, understanding their problem. Before doing that, it is all about learning. And many a time, all the wonderful volunteers who are assembled here, and you come from extraordinary backgrounds, extraordinary profiles, some of the best institutions. You work very hard. You may be from a regional language medium school to an English medium school, and you come up a certain way because only you have a certain motivation. That is why this increased registration, almost 65,000 registrations are happening every single day in this particular platform. Just imagine the kind of scale in which this particular platform is operating. Of course, you all have a lot of things, but sometimes you should also have the humility to understand we have to do some unlearning. Many a times we think, okay, this person wants that. This is the solution to him. Let me go and give that solution. So what happens is most of the time it looks like we are giving our solution to someone who actually might not need it. So throughout the process, when you start participating in politics, the political process, I think there are some things which we have to remind ourselves of. One, it is a constant process of learning, constant process of unlearning. And we should be humble enough before we mingle with people in the ground. We should be humble enough to first equip ourselves, understand the field, understand what it is, understand the country's geography, understand the country's history, understand country's culture, where people come from, what are they doing, where they need to go. So this process of learning and unlearning is an everyday process till we die. And daily you have to keep doing it. That is number one. In my opening remarks, I thought I should kind of share this with you. Number two, you should be fearless. And many a time you will get bogged down because many a time you're fighting with the system. And the system many a times is imperfect. And you're fighting with a rigid structure that doesn't want change in many places. Not everybody is amenable to change. So you got to be very fearless. Fearless in the sense, not going and bashing out and come. Fearless in mind. Fearless in mind meaning that you should have very clear vision of where you want to go, pursuit of a goal. Just keep doing it on an everyday basis. Number three, I would say, don't go after results because politics inevitably is not about results. Politics is all about process. As long as you keep doing it, you find enjoyment, you find purpose in it, I think that is your victory. Your victory is not sitting in some minister chair or sitting in some MLA chair or MP chair. I don't think that is victory. Victory is all about the self-fulfillment that you get everyday basis. That you've made some change, you've got some incremental income, you brought some new idea to old ways of thinking. Some policy measures you're able to push it wherever you seem to walk. This 2-3 things I thought I'll make as an initial remark before Saran Shetty gets all of us to dive deep into this topic. So once again, I thank everybody for showing interest, joining And I understand this is probably the first virtual platform. And I think it's a great initiative by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, because virtual platform gives an opportunity for all of us to connect at our own time, see the recordings, not necessarily being present at a physical location. So I should thank the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for getting this platform and getting all of us connected. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Annamalai ji, for your inspiring words. We have a lot of questions and we'll try our best to cover everything. But let me begin by asking you this, and also a small shout out to the participants. Please leave your questions either on the chat box or please send them to Manan Goelji. He'll be redirecting a lot of those to me, and I shall be asking the questions to Annamalai ji. Annamalai ji, one of the questions that we want to ask you is that you often speak about, say, grassroots politics. How can young people actually be involved in politics that is beyond just, electoral politics and, say, policy making or something?
Sharan ji, for the benefit of everybody, this country is exploding in all fields. This country wants new ideas. If you look at Niti Aayog, right from consultants, people who are inside, the think tanks that is growing in India, the think tanks that are advising the government, even the honorable ministers whose advisors, who have a lot of youth with them as a team. So this country wants to learn. We have to understand. And we have shifted from a mindset where we felt we know everything as a country. Probably we are following a 5-year plan. We are following a planning commission model, which was imposed from the top. And everybody has to just follow it. And right now we are in a trajectory where we have to learn more. We have to open our eyes more, which means the knowledge has to come from all parts of Bharat, and especially from the youth. Because now bulk of the population is youth, and it has to be a visionary. So I would say I have never seen this explosive growth I'm seeing in the last 4 or 5 years, especially in think tanks, young people. Wherever I go, I see young people contribution, young people writing research papers. But to do that, I personally believe it is very important that we first equip ourselves. We become more like an expert, more like a subject expert, and we put our hands to work and we get our hands dirty. And many a time, for any youth to enter into a public policy field where they can contribute something, it is important they are on the ground first. And reading textbook is something different. That is one way of gaining knowledge. But very importantly, if a youth thinks, okay, I am going to do something on economics, it is very important they should understand grassroots economics first. How does a village function? How does an entity in a village function? A policy making that is made in Delhi, it has to get transmitted multiple times before it reaches a village. How does the transmission happen? Where there is a transmission loss. And in a complex democratic republic like us, a state, a panchayat, the interaction among them on a daily basis. Then there are political agents who kind of grease through the whole process. What is the political agent's role? From center to state, how does it get transmitted? How does a policy get formed? Because many a time, it's a process of compromises. Not every day we get good policy. Every policy is a process of compromise. People have to fight. You have different pressure group, different interest group. Take everybody along. Somebody wants something, somebody doesn't want something. And like Jeremy Bentham said, is it for the benefit of a large number? Even a small number of people get affected by it. Is it okay? Can we do that kind of policy making? Or we want to benefit all kinds of people. Nobody should be left out. Even if it's a pseudo-optimal solution, are we okay with it? So these are all different philosophical treatises to it. So that is why I personally believe for all the young people who are here, it's a good time to learn philosophy. The good time, because the reason I mentioned history and geography is, a policy in US might not be applicable to India simply because of the history and geography and culture of this land. A policy in Tamil Nadu might not be applicable to Bihar because again of the history, geography and culture of this land. So, but still we have overall policies which we benefit. We have policies that benefit a particular state, benefit a particular area. So that is why I say before, I just took economics as an example. Likewise, we can talk about multiple fields. It is very important the youth go down to the field, spend time. If they think that this is my passion, this is my life, I'm going to put my next 20, 30 years of my life into it, I would say a good time should be to dedicate one day of your week just for practical lessons, just for getting into field. And many a time it is observation. And not necessarily we have to give ideas starting from day one. Because observation and sitting quietly and interacting with people or just listening to people's conversation, even in a bus stop, bus station, panchayat level, tea shop. When they do it, they pick up so many things. When we talk about Narega, 100-day employment, how many of us, before we comment on Narega, we have actually gone to the field? We see people working on a 100-day thing, sit with them, understand what is their pain point. Do they have a toilet break? How do they come? How long do they work? How do they get the money? Who pays the money? Does anybody in between siphon that money off? Though everything is made computerized now, nobody can do it after 2014. But still, this basic understanding, when we talk about Ayushman Bharat of 5 lakh rupee insurance, before somebody makes an attempt, a policy making attempt to improve or to add some new addition to it, go to a government hospital, go to a private hospital, go to hospital, see for yourself. How do people come? In what mindset to come? What are the pain points? So the point I'm trying to convey, Sharanji, is just at the age of 21, you decided to go to Afghanistan to see firsthand what is happening there. And that tells me a certain pattern. I would only urge, because they're at the formative stage of their career, 18 to 29, they're just at the formative stage. And this is the time they should consciously tell themselves, okay, learning, unlearning. I'm going to go to the field. Let me spend 24 hours every day in a week. Let me go and see whatever they talk about. Let it be rural development, let it be whatever field they want to put their heart and soul. It is important for the next 1-2 years at least before they get into big positions. Because once they get into big position, it is impossible for them to come down below. This is something the youth assembled here have to understand. Once they sit in very influential positions, then officers will take you. Officers will only show you what you need to see. And many a time to break that silo itself will be a problem to you, because you got to say, this is what I want to see. But many a time they take you what they want to see. So the first 1, 2, 3 years of your learning, again I'm going back to Narendra Modi. The kind of travel he did, 18 to 35 across India, the kind of travel he did in Gujarat from 35 to 50, 48, the kind of travel he did across India, 48 to 51. These are his ages when he held different positions. Every time, I'm very sure when we talk about our Prime Minister, he has traveled to every single district of our country, and he has got a very unique distinction of staying in every district of country at least for a night. This is even before he entered politics, even before 51. He has traveled the length and breadth of this country. He has stayed in each of those districts. During our interaction, we'll be simply amazed. When we talk about Tamil Nadu, a particular district, the Honorable PM will recall about the district. He will recall the products of the district. That level of knowledge, once you have built yourself, then once you enter any process, it's a matter of time, because you connect the knowledge, any interaction that happens, you take that thing, you connect to the ground reality. So I would say, sorry for the longish answer, but I would say, spend more time in the field, push yourself to spend a minimum of at least 1 day in a week in the field, so that you become a better person before we comment or before we want to improve the system.
So much for those inspiring words, Annamalai ji. I know that you have to leave soon. So I'll ask you one last question by clubbing 2-3 different things that we've also gathered from the audience. One is that, Annamalai ji, we live in the age of communications. We live in a technology age. We've seen how Narendra Modi ji himself took to, say, platforms like Twitter right before he became India's Prime Minister. But this sort of digital exposure also means that you're putting yourself out there in public. You receive a lot of criticism, and anybody can say anything to you. So for normal people, Annamalai ji, who may not be very qualified as many people from think tanks are, as officers like you were, how do they build a sort of a thick skin? How do they build that experience? How do they constantly juggle through everything and eventually get to where they are, given that the hurdles that the system throws at them are far too many?
Thank you, Sharanji. Sharanji, we have all the time in the world, not in a hurry, as long as you have the time. One, it's a very important question you have asked, because politics have become very competitive. I'm talking of electoral politics. It has become very competitive. The party politics have become very competitive. So all of you are going to enter into that space now. And Indian democracy is also a very noisy democracy. We have a lot of interest groups, pressure groups, and the media is very active. You have an ecosystem in social media also. Now in that space you are trying to go in, you are trying to give an opinion. That we have to understand. End of the day, you are trying to bring an opinion to the field. You are trying to bring an ideology to the field, whatever political parties you chose to align. And many a time, there will be big bats, there will be people who like it, people who don't like it. So you have to understand what the process. It's not a corporate company. Where we run a company, we have a product, we market it. End of the day, you are in the market space of politics where ideas collide. and everybody thinks their ideology is better, their product is better, and everybody wants to have people's mind share. So you have to understand this field is entirely different from any other field. That understanding should give us a bit of maturity to understand, okay, even if I go, many a time they attack you. That will be your initial thinking. But with little bit of mind, if you think through it, it is not they're attacking you. Probably they're attacking your ideas or they're attacking your ideology. So the first point I want to convey is don't take it anything personally. Likewise, you also don't do anything personally. So this applies both ways of a coin. Don't take anything personally. Even if somebody abuses you or talks to you in a way that you don't find it comfortable, find a way to tide over it. Because if you don't develop that mechanism, then every day you are always in a reactive mode. You get angry because somebody has insulted you, because you always have to see with a sense of detached perspective. And in a positive way, the more anybody attacks you, the more somebody comments you because they've taken you seriously. And only your comment or something they've taken you seriously. There is somebody who has come to a Twitter or a Facebook or Instagram, they've commented. Because we have to give respect to the person who's commenting also. Because the person who's commenting even bad things against you have chosen to give 10 seconds of their life or 15 seconds of their valuable life. He is trying to aggressively say you are wrong. Even that respect we have to give it to that person because he has taken your word seriously. That is why he is giving 15 seconds of his life or her life. Else he would have moved on, you would have moved on. So point number one, don't take it anything personally. Your life and politics should be like water on a lotus leaf. If you put water on a lotus leaf, the water just slides down. The water doesn't try to stick. So always remember this, especially in the field of politics. Always be a water on a lotus leaf. You just have to keep sliding down because democracy, if you go back to oldest democracy to now, it is 2000 plus years old. In some form or the other, democracy is there for 2000 years. And democracy is always incremental. We can't do everything overnight because you have different people, different mindsets. And you always have to understand, okay, I'm not going to do everything in 10 years. Let me keep trying to do in 10 years. There'll be acceptability for something, not acceptability for something. So once you have that, you are not in a hurry. Of course, you have to be in a hurry to do things. In your mind, if you're in a hurry to do things, if it is not happening, you get frustrated. Why it is not happening? So politics many a times will bring you frustration also. You might do good work, still you might not get recognized. So the point two I'm trying to convey to you is, don't be in a hurry in the mind, but be in a hurry in actions. Whatever you want to do, you do it fast. In the mind, you try to have that sense of detachment so that this comments and everything doesn't bother you much. Number three, you should have a control on technology. Though Sharanji was kind enough to say technology was exploded, true, but you should not get too much into technology. Technology is important, whatever platform. 24 hours technology, no, we are not meant for that. You have to use technology sparingly. Technology is very important. It's a tool for communication. It's a tool to connect. But I have seen many young politicians, they get bothered because full time they're on Twitter, full time they're on social media. They're like, no, somebody has commented. So you should know, okay, this is the thing I'm going to do. This is the thing I'm not going to do. So technology also for you is a sense of attachment and detachment. Not every time you should be in technology. Number four is more important for me than anything else because you are doing it for the joy of, for the purpose of, for joy and purpose. You are in politics because you find a sense of joy, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose. Once your mind is trained on that, you will not be bothered by many other people think. Of course, you should be bothered by what people think because you are in politics. And over a point of time, you will have that idea, you will have that mindset to differentiate between what is intentional and what is not intentional. Then you will be least bothered by unintentional things. So technology is important. Don't get too much into it. It is a tool to connect, tool to communicate. Remember only these two things. You cannot all the time keep scrolling, trying to find what people spoke about you, people spoke against you. That is not our problem. And second one, sense of detachment, like a water on a lotus leaf. Third, you're come here for joy, purpose, and fulfillment. It's a long process, and that should give you everyday happiness, not a public brickbat or public acknowledgement. That is all temporary for the time being because people's opinion and taste will change. And number four, you should have a sense of hurry in your physical action, but not a sense of hurry in your mental action. Because if you get frustrated, then probably you'll not enjoy the process. So long-term objective, keep doing it slowly, steadily, and eventually you will reach there. And every time you fail, always remember, I personally believe failure teaches you more than success. Success is one day happiness, one day joy, we move on. But failure is what? It makes you to introspect, it makes you to work hard. So everybody in this platform, it is not every day you get success. I personally believe, I think it is Abraham Lincoln's life. If you look at it, he has got maybe 99% failures and 1% success. All elections lost except the final election that he won as the United States president. And that made all the difference for him. So every time you fail, always remember it is setting up for you, because it is setting up for you to do something big when you get the chance, where you can make some lot of changes. So don't get bogged down by failures and success. I know it is very easy. That is why I said study philosophy, study spirituality. Very important. Because many of you might have come from technical stream, and in technical stream, the emphasis on philosophy and spirituality is very less in the academic text papers. So spirituality and philosophy, just keep reading it whenever you have time, because that develops a sense of detached perspective. That gives you a grounding. A proper reading of Ramayana or Mahabharata gives you a lot about statecraft, lots about warfare, lot about rules of engagement. A proper reading of Mahabharata will teach you about a lot of things that we spoke. So you should remember that these great characters have a lived through experience, and it is distilled to us in forms of great epics. And likewise, you might have your regional epics also. You might have your great books in your own mother tongue. So that is something you always carry with you. Vidura Nidhi is a great book for a politician. Anybody is interested, Vidura Nidhi, you can always have a handy book that gives a lot of answers to a problem, a dilemma that a politician faces on an everyday basis. It is there. Mahabharata, sense of detachment, a perspective, a holistic way of doing things. And very important, you should have a very good grounding on this. These are the things I would say, Sharanji. Thank you
for that detailed answer. Let me ask you as a follow-up, since many of our young volunteers have also been asking this question. Many people, many young Indians today, regardless of whatever stream they're in, they want to contribute to policy making, they want to contribute to governance, but they face challenges like bureaucratic hurdles, lack of mentorship, political barriers. So based on your experience, what steps should be taken to create more opportunities for youth in leadership in these roles of governance?
We have to understand there is a steel frame for this country, rightly or wrongly. We have the Indian bureaucracy, which is there for a long time, which will be there for a long time. If you look at the models of other countries' bureaucracy, for example, America operates on a system called the spoils system. A president comes to power and then he will decide who he wants, she wants, who or she, and then they work at the pleasure of the president, then they move out. So this is the top level bureaucrats. Probably you call it Secretary of State and all those secretaries, Treasury and Transportation, all those things. Then the lower level bureaucracies are fixed. Then also you have elected mayors at the top of each one. They kind of control the bureaucracy. Now Indian model is you have a competitive examination, you pass it till you retire, you become part of the system. Now, yes, there is always a problem because many people within the system doesn't want new people to enter the system. That is an ongoing process. So the government of India is trying from 2018 onwards. We have seen the lateral entry that is happening, where I've seen a lot of young people getting an opportunity to work as a joint secretary for 5 years. Government of India, they enter, and close to 50-60 people have I think more than 60 people have come. They have worked for 5 years and they have moved out. Now the last call for lateral entry has got into some problem, I think, which they will rectify soon. So the government's mindset is to allow very good people like you to enter into the system, into the same system as a joint secretary level officer, be there for some time, 5 years, bring outside perspective to the system. That is there. Even 7 years, even if it is too short a time, but still it is happening. And second, now we have to understand, directly dealing with bureaucracy is a pain and a pleasure. It's pleasure because not every bureaucracy fits into that mold of angry guy, paper pusher, who doesn't like you, who hates you, who wants to insult you. There are hundreds and thousands of wonderful bureaucrats who are very, very open to ideas, and many a time you just have to find the right person also for interaction purpose, learning from them, and you got to make an attempt, send an email, send a polite text message. They'll have their office address. So many a time it is you reaching out. A bureaucrat should have that feeling, okay, you have made that effort, you are seriously interested. So we have to understand a bureaucrat is also hard pressed for time. If you're looking at a secretary level officer or probably a joint secretary officer, they're so busy nowadays. They move from meetings to meeting. And it is impossible to find some 30, 40 minutes of that time to go and sit with them and talk. So many a time you also have to show that seriousness to them by writing letters or email to say that why do you want to meet? Because the first 2-3 meetings that you do, it has to develop a rapport for you. The bureaucrat has to understand, okay, he's valuing my time, he or she. They're able to enter my office, sit with me. And it is also about communication. I think Sharanji mentioned about communication. If I go to a bureaucrat and say, sir, till now what you're doing is wrong, and I've got some new idea, can I present to you? So I'm sure my friends who are here will not agree to this line of communication. And many a time what happens is a bureaucrat feels insecure the moment we say, sir, there's an idea, please look at it. Can we say it like this, sir? I appreciate what you're doing, because every decision is made in a time and place. But I also got some ideas which I think you might like it. Probably if you think it is worthy enough, probably if you think it is practical enough, can you consider? So it is all about how you communicate to them, and how you nicely you communicate to them. You make them feel secure. And third is, many a time you make sure you sell your idea in such a way the bureaucrat should think it is his or her idea. This is the art of politics, and this probably all of you will learn in some time. And the best way for an idea to succeed is, because at the end of the day, we want the idea to succeed, not us to succeed. You got to position and push your idea in such a way the bureaucracy won't sit. Okay, fine, it's a great idea. Can I take it? So multiple things: patience, persistence, and politeness in terms of communication, finding the right person to go. One through the system, lateral entry, one outside the system, one being a part of a think tank, one not being a part of a think tank. So these are the tools. And many a time, don't look at big IAS officers only to solve your problem. There are hundreds of officers of group A, B, C who are at multiple levels within the system. For example, a person sitting in a collector's office in district, you can go and meet him. He has got all the time in the world. He could be a group C or a group D or a group T, but probably not into full policy making, but is into implementation part. You start from there. And many a time we believe talking to bureaucracy means going to Chennai or Delhi or Lucknow or Mumbai and talking to some top guy sitting in secretariat. Make an effort even to reach to a Panchayat Development Officer, PDO, who's at the bottom level in the Panchayat. Talk to him, because he will give you a lot of ideas, because he's right there in the Panchayat level. You give your ideas to him also. Then you go one step up, the block level, talk to them. Then probably one step up at the district level, talk to them. Then finally, when you meet a top bureaucrat, the bureaucrat will also take you seriously, because he will show, sir, I met a Panchayat fellow, I met the block guy, I met the district guy. See, I've done multiple interactions. I've learned. There are some ideas I know I work, because I've changed my ideas also. So that will also be a better way for you to not directly go to the top. Start from bottom, build it up, and reach to the top. These are some of the ways to kind of nullify bureaucratic resistance. Yeah, thank you.
One of the questions that people are asking is that regardless of how talented an individual might be, eventually say suppose you need to enter electoral, require a lot of learning. Right now we see at a state level there are different elections, national level there are different elections, and everybody knows that it's an open secret that for an assembly seat you need X amount of money to be spent, and for a Lok Sabha election you need a certain amount of money to be spent. What is the solution, sir? You have also spoken very highly of, say, One Nation. So a lot of youngsters are looking up to you for these answers, and whether in the near future they will have an opportunity to actually contribute way or
Okay, I will probably give a longish answer to this, because I think it's a very important question. And with 5 years of my experience in the ground, I'll try and answer it. Probably my answer might not be the best answer, but still I'll try and give from my perspective. Politics in India, electoral politics in India, it happens at multiple levels. There are some places the party is too strong. You just have to join the party and party will win it for you. And you just have to be present in that party. And the party has to just put you as a candidate. People might not even know who you are as a person. They'll vote for the party. There are some cases where the party is weak. So you as a candidate, you have to push, get a lot of votes for you, get a vote for party. Combinedly, you will win. There are a lot of places where the party is too weak. And even a great candidate joining one of the weakest party or a new party, it is impossible to win. You might be a great candidate, you might be a fantastic guy. Unfortunately or fortunately, democracy is like that. Democracy is always in India. It is more on the party side. Even as we speak now, Indian democracy, if you look at all elections votes, it is a party that dominates an election, rightly so, because end of the day, people trust a party. A party has got an ideology, a party has got a history, a party has got a consistency. So I can, instead of putting my doubt on a candidate I know he might be a good guy, good person, but I instead of putting my full trust in a candidate, people put their trust on a party because they know, right or wrong, the party there is a track record of consistency. Now that is, you have to understand this before you understand anything. It is always in Indian democracy, as of now, party that dominates the electoral place more than an individual candidate. Accordingly, you make your choice. Let us imagine that you say, no, I am too idealistic, I want to contest as an independent. There are fantastic people who have contested as independent. They have got votes, 30,000 votes on assembly constituency. In MP cases, they've gone up to 2 lakh votes, 3 lakh votes. In some cases, the independents have also won because they are in that field for a long time and they know people, and people have trust independents. Independents have also won. It is not that they haven't won. So you got to have the maturity to understand, okay, what is Indian political system? What is the party system? What is a parliamentary system? Where I'm going to fit in. Many a time when you join a big party, it is not, you're not going to set the seat tomorrow. You also have to acknowledge in a big party, okay, I've joined today. Can they give me a seat tomorrow? They will not give. Then you have to wait your chance, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years it might happen, or quickly also it might happen, because there are already thousands and lakhs of volunteers of that party working in that space, and they have a political experience. Now, first you have to compete internally within the system, so that you have a name recognition, you have a face recognition. People see you that you have some ideas, you are young, you are energetic. Then bypassing all those people to get a seat. So there is an inter-party democracy, there is an intra-party democracy. You have to understand. First, you have to survive in a party. Even if you come with a noble intention, I want to do good work, I am a great person, fine. That is your way of assessing yourself. But when you join a party, you got to fit into the party ideologically, because there are a lot of seniors above you. They should value you, you should value them. So it requires a lot of skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills, social skills. So that is how you survive within the party. Then the party unanimously will stand behind you. You get a seat. Then probably it is easy for you because the party will win it for you. So even in a big party, let us imagine I join, I win. It is not necessary because you have to do a lot of internal fights before you get that seat. So this is something which I believe the youth of this country should have a very clear understanding where they want to go, how when electoral politics happens, where they fight and how do they win. The second part is money power. Yes, of course, in an Indian democracy, right or wrong, money power has become a very huge one. Some estimates say 2024 Lok Sabha election, the combined spending of all parties and candidates is 1,74,000 crore. For the 2024 Lok Sabha, the combined spending is 1,74,000 crore, as some estimates say. So elections are costly. Democracy in India is costly. And it is not overnight we can fix it. It's a very noisy, complex democratic republic where one state might agree, one state might not agree. Even if you look at one nation, one election, it is not easily done. The proposal that Ramnath Kovindji, our honorable former president, has put before the parliament and us is, it's a longest process. So this parliament, 2024 parliament, has to end, which normally it should end in 2029. Then the 2029 parliament should end, which should end in 2034, assuming that things go as per plan. There is no dissolvement, everything. 2024 will end in 2029, 2029, 2034. He says, the committee says, when the next parliament ends in 2034 will be the one nation, one election. Which means as we speak now, our country is going to look at one nation, one election in 2034, assuming this parliament completes its time and the next parliament completes its time. So a democracy, we have again taken a long approach. Though we want one nation, one election right now, but we are not doing it right now. We are doing it 9 years from now. Because now Tamil Nadu DMK government will say, no, you bring it immediately, I will lose my 2 years. Congress government in Karnataka will say, I will lose 2 years. Mamata Banerjee madam will say, I will lose 1 year. So you got to take everybody into account. That is why I said democracy, even if it grinds slow, it grinds surely. It grinds slow, but it grinds surely. So one nation, one election is in 2034. as we speak now. So you have to have a lot of patience in the process. And one nation, one election, when it comes, yes, a lot of problems that we are talking now will get solved. Election Commission is becoming stricter and stricter and stricter. A lot of problems are getting solved. Supreme Court is becoming stricter and stricter and stricter. A lot of problems are getting solved. So it is a constant evolution. If you ask me whether today democracy is perfect, 100% no. Will democracy ever be perfect? 100% no. Democracy is always a process of reaching towards perfection. That is why the great Winston Churchill, when somebody asked him, define democracy, what is democracy for you? He said, democracy is the worst form of government. But he also continued, but the other forms of government are much worse than democracy. So we have to understand, all of you have assembled more than 2 crore people joined this because you want to make democracy towards perfection. How 2014? 2014 is much more perfect than 2010. 2025 is much more perfect than 2014. We no more have coalition governments. We no more have horse trading. We no more have governments falling in middle. At least we have got a stable government with Modi ji. So that is the first test we have passed. Our democracy is becoming mature. Now people are looking at performance and voting. Second test also we are passing, but not fully. We are partly passing. So democracy will continue to get perfect. This the youth have to understand. Before they get impatient and say why it is not happening today, it should have actually happened yesterday. So it is a process. You got to struggle with that process and do it. And many a time the solutions are pseudo-optimal. Not all solutions are great. Since you have to take so many horse trading, bargaining, giving up something, taking up something, just like how we get a bill passed in the parliament, sometimes you move towards optimal, sometimes it is pseudo-optimal because in a democracy you take everybody along. So I would say, you want to jump into electoral politics, start young. Start young. Don't postpone to 40, 45, 50. Start young. And start working within the party. Work hard. Make people to notice you. And end of the day, talent and hard work has to win eventually. It's a matter of time. And nobody can stop you from reaching a position in democracy if you want. Provided, keep working hard. Be humble about it. Do it. And eventually you will get a position within the party. Then you will get a seat. Then you will win. Since this question is very specifically about electoral democracy, my answer is very specific to it within the party. But don't postpone. Oh, there is no vacancy in my seat. There is a strong leader in my seat. I will not join my seat. Don't think about that. Anything can happen to that strong leader in your seat. A party might deny a seat, or probably he might retire. So don't take chances. Electoral politics is what you decide. Start it young, do it young. Preferably start from bottom because you learn so much on the way to the top. Thank you so much.
Annamalai ji, I'm sure this addresses and answers a lot of the questions that our youngsters have been having. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the session and we have no more time to read, although we have 20 to 25 questions more left. But thank you so much for giving us your precious time and taking some time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you, Charanji. Great pleasure interacting with you. My humble pranams to all the youth. Just don't give up. Be positive. The country needs you. And you are very young, energetic, brilliant minds. Just keep at it. And it's a small world. We'll keep meeting on and off when I travel, when you travel. Let us get introduced to each other. We'll keep chatting. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Namaste. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Annamalai ji and to everybody else for attending this. This is the first episode in the inspiring series that My Bharat and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has envisioned. We will be regularly having many of these episodes in the time to come. Until next time, we will see you all very shortly. Thank you so much. Unless we have something more to add from the ministry's side, I think we can conclude.